Namaskar, warm greetings from DELNET Developing Library Network, New Delhi, India. The most distinguished speaker, Dr. P. Rammanohar, DELNET officials, Shri K. Jayakumar, President, Dr. S.S. Murthy, Vice President, Dr. P.R. Goswami, Treasurer, the heads of institutions, deans, eminent librarians, library and information science professionals, heads of departments, professionals from various IKS centers established across India, faculty, researchers, scholars, and students, my colleagues here at DELNET New Delhi office and also its coordination units at Bangalore, Pune, Vadodara, ladies and gentlemen. I, Dr. Sangeeta Kaul, Director DELNET, takes profound privilege and honor in welcoming you all to the second webinar session on a newly launched DELNET Indian Knowledge Systems IKS webinar lecture series, Wisdom of the Past for Shaping the Future. We are extremely honored to have with us today the most esteemed and a renowned expert in Ayurveda, Dr. P. Rammanohar, the Research Director, Amrita Center for Advanced Research in Ayurveda, School of Ayurveda, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Kollam, Kerala. We extend a very warm, hearty welcome to you, Dr. Rammanohar, and it's indeed such an honor and pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you so much for your very, very gracious consent to our invite, and we are feeling so much privileged to have you with us on this platform today. We are much appreciative also and thankful for an overwhelming response to today's webinar session, as more than 1,600 participants have registered from different parts of India and many other countries, including Bhutan, Canada, Sri Lanka, UAE, and USA. At the very outset, on behalf of DELNET, we would like to express our sincere gratitude and thanks to the esteemed speaker, Dr. P. Rammanohar, for acceding to our request with a gracious consent. We are pleased to inform you that DELNET has recently launched a new webinar series on Indian knowledge systems, which is devoted to capturing rich intellectual heritage comprising sophisticated systems of knowledge that spans across diverse disciplines, including architecture, art, astronomy, Ayurveda, education, language, literature, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, science, and many others. This IKS webinar series from DELNET is an initiative to rediscover, celebrate, and critically engage with the richness of India's indigenous knowledge traditions. The eminent experts on IKS have been sharing their vast wisdom. Today, we are in the midst of organizing the second webinar session of the series on Indian contributions to the world of Ayurveda. On this occasion, let us pay our very respectful homage and remembrance to the renowned ancient Indian gurus and knowledge experts who have made profound contributions to the field of Ayurveda. Ayurveda, India's ancient gift to the world, embodies a holistic vision of life where health is harmony between body, mind, and nature. Its enduring principles continues to inspire global approaches to wellness and preventive healthcare. This ancient wisdom remains relevant, influential, and widely practiced across the world today. It's a profound privilege and honor for me now to introduce our distinguished speaker. Dr. P. Rammanohar is a renowned global expert in the field of Ayurveda. He's a research director of Amrita School of Ayurveda. He received BMS degree from Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, way back in 1991, and an MD from Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bangalore, in 2001. He has been contributing in the field of Ayurvedic research since the last more than 30 years. We are pleased to inform you all that our distinguished speaker has a prolific research experience since he has served as a principal investigator, co-principal investigator of a number of prestigious research projects in Ayurveda. I would just like to make an humble attempt to make you all apprised. There are a huge, large number of research projects, and we can take and speak about his contributions for more than an hour, which is a scheduled time for this webinar session. And let me just apprise you all a few of these very remarkable, profound contributions that our distinguished speaker has to his credit, including as a co-principal investigator of a research project entitled Ayurveda-based diet and behavioral lifestyle intervention for the management of pre-diabetes, a community-based study funded by the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, 2025 to 27. Principal investigator of a double-blinded, double-dummy, randomized control study to evaluate the efficacy of classical Ayurveda management versus methotrexate in rheumatoid arthritis, funded by the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, 2025-27. Principal Investigator of Amrita IKS Center of Excellence in Ayurveda, Vyakarna and Darsana, IKS Division, Ministry of Education, Government of India, 2527. Thematic Coordinator of IKS Minor Courses on Ayurveda for Healthcare Professionals, Principals Investigator for Amrita IKS Center for Ayurveda, Vyakarana and Darshana, funded by Ministry of Education, and also many others, including as an Ayurveda clinical e-learning portal. He has been a principal investigator for it. Ayur Sim, Simulations for Ayurveda Clinical Teaching, funded by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, BAT, Government of India, 2021-24, and many others. I'm extremely honored and so very delighted to inform you all that our distinguished speaker, Dr. P. Rammanohar, has been bestowed with a number of awards and recognitions for his outstanding contributions to the world of Ayurveda. In 2025, he has been honored with the Outstanding Contributor Award from Southern California University of Health Sciences, USA. In 2024, he was awarded with Raghavan Thirumalpet Puraskaram from the Chalukadi Nagar Sabha and Thirumalpadi Foundation for outstanding contributions to Ayurveda research. In 2022, our distinguished speaker was honored with Ayurveda Ratan Award from the All India Party Parliamentary Group on Indian Traditional Sciences, Houses of Parliament, United Kingdom. In 2022, he also received the Dhanvantri Award from the Nature Fit. In 2021, he was awarded with Dr. Kesha Baliram Hedgever Healing Honor 2021 for his contributions to facilitating integrative and preventive medicine. And he has to his credit many other profound awards and recognitions. I'm also very honored to inform you all that our distinguished speaker, Professor P. Rammanohar, also holds currently many other honorary positions, and just to name a few, and that shows, that at the global level, how, his profound knowledge is being utilized, as he has been a member of the World Health Organization Technical Advisory Editorial Board on Traditional Complementary and Integrative Medicine Evidence, member, National Commission for Indian Systems of Medicine, Government of India, co-chair, Special Interest Group on Ayurveda, Society for Integrative Oncology, Research Advisor, Indian National Science Academy, and also on the editorial board of the European Journal for Integrative Medicine, and many more. I'm also happy to inform you that our distinguished speaker has been a member of Task Force for Ayush Response to COVID-19, Government of Kerala, member of Working Group for Education Integrative Health Initiative of Niti Aayog, member of National Health Systems Resource Center, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and on many other national and the international bodies. I'm happy to inform that our distinguished speaker, Professor, has also made research visits to the United States, UK, Canada, Germany, France, Netherlands, Italy, Austria, Latvia, Russia, Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, Argentina, Brazil, Singapore, Sri Lanka. I don't think that on the world map there is any country who has not been impacted and got benefited, with such a vast expertise and experience, of such a very renowned global personality. He has also delivered invited lectures at Harvard Medical School, USA, National Cancer Institute, USA, University of Vienna, Austria, University College London, Essen University in Germany, Charlotte Medical University, Germany, University of Milan, Italy, People's Friendship University, Russia, University of Copenhagen at Denmark, and World Toxicology Forum at Belgium, and also at Ohio University in USA. It's a profound honor and pleasure to have you with us, Dr. P. Rammanohar. No words can ever adequately express, how gratifying it is for us, for each one of us, not only for DELNET, but each one of us who are being connected on this platform today. We are extremely, thankful to you for being so very gracious and kind in agreeing, to be there with each one of us and to celebrate, the India's contribution to the world of Ayurveda. And we can't really wait anymore, to really listen to you, the words of wisdom, to coming from you and helping us, really to get more deeper dives into the world of Ayurveda and making India so very proud of its such a vast, rich, legacy that we all are being so proud to have. have. May I have a pleasure of requesting you now, Dr. Rammanohar, to kindly start the proceedings of today's webinar session. And with much, once again, much grateful and obliged for your very, very kind and gracious, presence with us today. It's over to you, please.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for that warm and lengthy introduction. I feel very humbled. I'm also honored actually to be present here today on this prestigious platform to share my views on Indian contributions to the world of Ayurveda. So I have, also added another phrase. When you look at it globally, Ayurveda represents India's enduring gifts to global medical thought itself. So we'll explore this theme today. And first of all, I'd like to kind of point out why Ayurveda matters to world medicine. I mean, today we are going, on the global platform, and worldwide there is an interest in what is called as integrative medicine, complementary and integrative health, which shows that there are big gaps left by modern medicine, unmet needs, that need to be addressed. And it is in this way that systems like Ayurveda are being approached globally. And what is interesting is that Ayurveda is Ayurveda. It is the knowledge of life. Any other medical system in the world are generally known by the place where it developed. Chinese medicine, African medicine, European medicine, Aboriginal medicine. We never called Ayurveda as Indian medicine, which shows that, the basic outlook itself is global. Who is Ayurveda? What is Ayurveda for? It is for life itself. So not only human life, plant life, animal life, Vriksha Ayurveda, Pashu Ayurveda, Ayurveda embraces life in totality. So in Sanskrit, we always had a universal outlook, of course. Our PM highlights this Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam theme. If you look at Bharata Varsha, India means people living on the other side of the Indus River. That is a geographical identity. But Bharata Varsha means people who seek the light of knowledge. And that is not geographical. So everywhere you can see India had this all-embracing Sanskritam. Sanskritam is the name of the Sanskrit language. And all other languages are again associated with the place where it is used. German, Germany, French, France, Hindi, Hindustan, Malayalam, Kerala. But Sanskritam means just the refined language. So Ayurveda is not just a collection of remedies, a complete medical knowledge system. And covering many areas, today we have a very brief kind of time where I will try to give a quick overview, snippets of what Ayurveda is all about. Its contribution extends to prevention, surgery, ethics, medical reasoning, ecology and sustainability. And so the key message is that India shaped how medicine thinks, not only what medicine uses. And that is where Ayurveda becomes very relevant today. So I want to show how the whole country contributed to the tradition of Ayurveda. This is a symbolic image. You can see I am trying to place the chronogeographical evolution of Ayurveda. If you look at the textbooks, India has one of the largest collection of medical manuscripts in the world. That itself talks about, the greatness of our medical legacy. And if you were to place, this is very representative, if you were to place all these manuscripts, across the country, in placing them into the locations where they belong, the whole map of India would be covered. So here is a representation showing how different textbooks have emerged from different parts of the country. And if you were to create a chronological timeline, every major chronological landmark would be crowded with textbooks that were created, time and again, updating the Ayurvedic knowledge, creating, new adaptations to the needs of the times and to the place. So we have in Ayurveda a very dynamic tradition. And here is a quick list of great personalities who contributed to Ayurveda. It's not just one. There are hundreds. A very eminent historian from Netherlands, Muhlenbelt, had made a list of all the acharyas of Ayurveda, and just by studying their life and their contributions, I mean, this would be a great inspiration for the new generation. So Bharadwaja, the first teacher of Ayurveda, Agastya, the propagator of Siddha medicine, Agnivesha, who composed the first Ayurvedic text, Atreya, who established the medical school of Ayurveda, Dhanvantari, who established the surgical school of Ayurveda, Charaka, who revised the text of Agnivesha, Kashyapa, the first pediatrician in the world, Vagbhada synthesized the surgical and medical schools. Bhela was a colleague of Agnivesha and who also composed a great text which is now available only, in bits and pieces. Sushruta, of course, the kind of father of surgery even globally and especially plastic surgery. He wrote the first surgical textbook. Madhava composed a book on diagnostics. Bhava Mishra, updated Ayurvedic knowledge as recently as the 16th century in the Common Era. And Sharangadhara composed the first Ayurvedic textbook on pharmacy. And this is just a sample. If we were to list all the acharyas, we could spend days and days discussing about each acharya and their contribution. And Ayurvedic textbook, this is very interesting that Ayurveda has created technical writing and it has created formats and templates. So we have Ayurvedic textbooks needed to fulfill certain formatting requirements, just like today we have research articles requiring particular way of formatting and structure. So we have samhitas or compendiums, Charaka, Sushruta, we have nikhandus and medical lexicons, we have sutras or aphorisms, we have koshas or glossaries, vyakhyas, commentaries, yoga sangrahas or formularies, prakarana granthas. So we can see a very rich medical literature, and the codification of Ayurveda in such sophistication and detail with such meticulousness actually shows how evolved the tradition of Ayurveda. What a learned tradition it is. And to imagine that this is an activity that has continued and sustained for centuries through the millennia is quite amazing. And at some point of time, Ayurveda transited from oral to written tradition. And we cannot say that the oral tradition was inferior. In fact, from our traditional point of view, the writings indicate actually a decline in mental abilities. It was considered superior for people to have the ability to remember everything. So all of these traditions began as oral traditions, and with phenomenal exhibition of memory power. Students were memorizing volumes and volumes of textbooks. And the writings were later done, actually the texts say for the purpose of Alpa Buddhis, people who cannot remember much, the writing tradition had come. So if you look at the overall Indian, ecosystem, learning ecosystem or literature, we can see that we had a very profound scientific attitude and approach. And here I want to present some things which are often dismissed as myths, but I would like to, rephrase them as actually the oldest science fiction. Many of these things that they imagined in those days are actually happening today. Extrauterine fertilization, Lord Shiva and Kartika, extrauterine gestation, Agastya being born from a pot, cloning of fetuses in Mahabharata, surrogate mothers who, nurtured Lord Subramanya, external influence during intrauterine life, Abhimanyu being influenced, by the stories he heard while he was in the mother's womb, asexual reproduction, sage Agastya creating Lopamudra, from just inert matter without, biological process. So they were imagining science. Ayurveda is not against technology. The Indian tradition is not against technology. We cannot claim that all these things were scientifically actually done at that time, but they definitely aspired for such technologies. We have methods of preserving dead bodies, reviving the dead with special herbs, not actually dead, reviving the dying, which means actually emergency, end of life care, restoring youthhood, anti-aging formulations, transmigration. So if you look at the science fiction content in our tradition, that itself is very inspiring. It shows that our civilization was aspiring not just for spiritual emancipation, but also material progress and development of medical technologies. So we have surgical myths as early as the Rig Veda. There is an interesting account of Queen Vishwa, and this itself is fascinating. It's a woman leading the warfare, and she gets her limbs severed, and the Ashwini twins actually transplant, artificial limbs, prosthetics. So prosthetics is imagined in the Vedas. The Ashwini twins transplant no less an organ than the head. In recent times, there have been attempts at brain transplant, head transplant in Italy. So you can see how far ahead they have been thinking. There is description of artificial denture being made by the Ashwini twins, and the closest parallel to modern corneal transplant can be seen in the feat of the Ashwini twins restoring the eyesight of Pushan by eye transplant. So you can see today we say modern medicine has developed all these technologies. Many of these have been realized today, but how many of us know that many thousands of years ago our ancient rishis imagined this? We do not have clear evidence whether all of these things were performed. There are very interesting research myths also in our tradition. For example, the exit tests in our universities were very unique and novel. So at the end of the teaching of Ayurveda, Bhikshu Atreya asks his students to go around and come back with a plant that does not have medicinal properties. And it is said that Jivaka came back. Jivaka was one of his disciples who came back empty-handed after a few days, saying he couldn't find a plant without medicinal value. And then the Atreya says that you are the only student who has graduated. All the others have to spend more time. So this is, reflecting a very important principle in Ayurveda. Jagattevam anaushadam na kinjit vidyate dravyam. Everything under the sun has some potential medicinal value, and the physician should develop that inner eye with which he is able to discover medications. So this exit shows that Ayurveda was innovation oriented. It was very creative. Sushruta says that a physician who comes out of the education or schooling, should be a Swayam Kriti, an innovator who makes new inventions by himself. So Ayurveda was kind of developed in that way, promoting creation of new knowledge, innovation and research, as these stories indicate. So we can say today we want to rediscover Ayurveda. So you might all be thinking and asking, it's fascinating to learn how great Ayurveda was, but then what is its scope and relevance today? So Ayurveda can be rediscovered as a systems medicine, because health and disease are understood as being dynamic, multi-causal and context sensitive. If you were to summarize the essence of how Ayurveda looks at health and disease, it is these three things: dynamism, everything is dynamic; multi-causality, and everything is context sensitive. So this fits well with modern emerging ideas of systems medicine. And the human being is envisioned as a multi-dimensional entity, having biological dimension, psychological dimension, social dimension, and we are embedded in our surrounding ecology. So Ayurvedic texts say we are a representation of the macrocosm. There is an intimate connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Purushoyam Loka Samhitaha, that is, the individual is a reflection of the whole universe. So this again has a strong resonance with modern systems biology. Now if you look at prevention, prevention precedes treatment in Ayurveda. It is based on the profound philosophy of the Yoga Sutra, Heyam Dukkham Anagadam. Remove the sorrow before it arrives. There is a strong emphasis on dinacharya or daily routine, ritucharya or seasonal routine, sadvrita or ethical conduct. And health is defined as functional balance, resilience, capacity to adapt, And we can see that Ayurveda is one of the earliest structured preventive medicine models. So we need to reimagine and reinterpret and redevelop Ayurveda in the modern context. And here you can see Ayurveda anticipates so many things, like, for example, chronobiology, time as a biological variable. Ayurveda recognized biological rhythms, diurnal rhythms, seasonal rhythms, and linked it to disease manifestation and drug action. So timing influences therapeutic success. Life stage relations. Early foundation of chronobiology and circadian medicine can be seen in Ayurveda. In fact, if we had taken clues from Ayurveda, I mean, the recent Nobel Prize that a Japanese physiologist obtained for discovering the, the biological clock, the genes that actually encode the biological clock. I mean, if we bring science and Ayurveda together, I mean, Ayurveda could kind of inspire so many new novel research pathways in modern medicine and science. As I said, that's why I wanted to begin by saying Ayurveda and the Indian tradition represents, very rich narratives of science fiction which can inspire new scientific discoveries and studies. Another aspect which is very relevant today is the concept of planetary health and One Health perspective. So we have, even in the Vedas, in the Purusha Sukta, where it says, Samno astu dvivade sham chatushpade, tachamyor avrini me. This is a Shanti mantra associated with the Purusha Sukta, urdhvam jigadu bheshajam. Let everything in the universe, it is aspiring for health that extends to not only human life, but to plant life, animal life, and the whole planet. So environment, plants, animals, climate. Ayurveda was one of the earliest systems to predict climate change, and also SARS-like, or the COVID-like epidemics. So population level disease has been traced to ecological disruption. So we have Kala Dushti, which is nothing like, but what we call as climate change. So Ayurveda says first Desha Dushti happens, environmental degradation, leads to water contamination, air pollution, and eventually it scales to, changes in season, or what we call as climate change. And if you look at ethics, Ayurveda has laid the foundations of ethical medical practice. Charaka's oath, we talk about Hippocrates' oath. It's time we brought Charaka's oath into the Indian medical, framework. This will enable us to be proud of our own medical roots. So compassion, confidentiality, moral restraint, service orientation, all this exists in Charaka's oath, independent of the Hippocrates oath. So medicine is a moral vocation, not merely technical skill. So I'd like to quote, there is a verse in the Ashtanga Sangraha which says, when you go to a physician's, patient's house, just focus on what you have to do as a doctor. Privacy of data, don't reveal any private information that you may gather while you are there at the patient's house. You must protect the privacy of the patient. How to behave with women, how you have to ask permission before advocating a treatment whose outcomes are not established. All these things. Akriyayam dhruvo mrityu kriyayam samshayo bhavet. You have to tell the patient. So these all kind of anticipates modern idea of informed consent. So the Charaka says, ask the patient, tell him clearly that if you don't do any treatment, you will die. If you are taking this treatment, there is a chance of recovery. So there are a lot of such ethical frameworks that have been mentioned in Ayurveda, and surgery is a scientific discipline. The legacy of Sushruta, the world's earliest surgical treatise, where you have anatomy, description of instruments, operative techniques, post-operative care, training through cadaveric dissection and simulation, simulated learning. Students were given a simulated environment. They had to practice on vegetables and other materials, and that's how they learned incision, suturing. So this again anticipates modern, simulated training, virtual classrooms. This is quite fascinating, and you can see that Sushruta tells that you have to not only learn from books, but you must dissect. Pratyakshadascha yad drishtam tad bhuyo jnanavardhanam. Shastra drishtam, pratyaksha drishtam. So anatomy was not allowed to be learned just by reading textbooks. You had to dissect the body, verify what is there in the textbook. And the surgical tradition was also kind of, made very people oriented. We can see that in Pune, when our Britishers came to India, they saw that the Potter community was actually doing nose reconstruction surgery, which is called as rhinoplasty, on the streets of Pune. Technology, this medical technology was made so simplified and made available to people that the Potter community could actually implement it. And the Britishers were surprised to see that this was successful. There was no sepsis, no infection, everybody healed. So even apart from medical doctors, such specialized treatments were made available. So India had a people-oriented healthcare system where healthcare delivery was not done just by doctors. There was a big hierarchical system. Even the grandmothers were doctors, dealing with primary healthcare. And that's why we see Potters are able to do surgery. Surgery was skill-based, experiential, reproducible, and India's surgical knowledge influenced later global traditions, especially plastic surgery, or what we call today as reconstructive surgery, can be traced to this documentation of what happened in Pune with the Potters. The Britishers documented this, and that triggered the development of plastic surgery in the world. So another important aspect, we often credit Greek medicine to have introduced rationality in medicine, but Ayurveda talks about yukti vyapashraya chikitsa, which is rational therapy, separating them from daiva vyapashraya and sattva vijaya. So yukti vyapashraya means cause and effect reasoning, where everything is decided on the basis of a clear algorithm, the dosage, the timing, patient individuality. So Ayurveda was one of the earliest systems to bring what is called as rationality into the medical framework. So you can see many interesting narratives in the classical Ayurvedic texts. So Charaka says somebody treats a patient, he gets better. How do we know that it was really due to the treatment? So we see discussions about what today we would call as chance effect or a placebo effect. So Charaka uses the term yadricha siddhi, chance or accidental success, as opposed to pratinamiki siddhi or predictable knowledge-based outcomes. So Ayurveda recognizes that anecdote is not evidence, reproducibility matters. So vina tarkena ya siddhi yadricha siddhi revasa. If you cannot justify and rationalize and provide evidence for the success that you get in your clinical practice, it's chance effect, you have to dismiss it. And Chakrapani says, Natra Vaidyaha Roga Pramokshe Karanam. So just because you gave medicine to a patient, he got better, doesn't mean that it was your treatment. Please think critically. We find Agnivesha is questioning his teacher Atreya, also saying that I don't believe in Ayurveda because sometimes patients get better, sometimes they don't get better. People who take treatment, they get better or they don't get better. People who don't take treatment also sometimes get better. So how do we know that Ayurveda really works? So you can see all these things show that Ayurveda is not just a collection of medical recipes or medical information. It is a knowledge system because we have a framework for validating knowledge. So Charaka very clearly says that the method of creating knowledge, testing knowledge, validating knowledge, he uses the term pariksha. Esha pariksha nastyanya yaya sarvam parikshate. Parikshakarino hi kushala bhavanti. So without doing this pariksha or investigation or validation, by observation, inference, looking at codified knowledge, bringing in yukti or multi-causal reasoning, that is a very important aspect of Ayurveda, which makes Ayurveda systems thinking ready. So it accepts complexity, multi-causality, and Ayurveda always emphasizes that You cannot simply say before and after treatment. Today, many of us are, propagating Ayurveda through such case stories, before and after treatment on social media platform. This is not, getting the sanction from our acharyas like Charaka or Sushruta. They wanted more, structured evidence, clear cause and effect relationships. Now, if you look at Ayurvedic nosology, so with this, Ayurveda developed a very complex classification of diseases. Dosha involvement, which means functional dysregulation. Dhatu imbalance, which means metabolic stress. Roga margas, disease pathways. Progression of disease through various phases, 6 stages from imbalance to complication. Ayurveda understood that disease evolves. It just didn't happen, as one sudden event. So all this enables early diagnosis and prevention. So we have 7-fold classification of diseases, causality-based nosology, Adibala Pravritta, all of 7. See, Adibala Pravritta, genetic hereditary. Janmabala Pravritta, intrauterine origin or congenital diseases. Doshabala Pravritta, functional imbalance. All are further subdivided. Sanghadabala Pravritta, external trauma and injury. Kalabala Pravritta, coming through season and aging. Daivabala Pravritta, epidemics, environmental factors. Swabhava Pravritta, natural, inevitable processes like aging. So you can see this disease classification is still relevant today. It's very difficult to add one more category here. If you look at all the subdivisions, we have one of the most comprehensive classifications of disease in the medical traditions of the world. So this disease classification is unique because it moves beyond symptom-based labels. It integrates genetics, developmental biology, trauma, ecology, chronobiology, and again, you can say this represents an early systems-based disease ontology. So I'm not saying that we can go back to how Ayurveda was practiced 100 years ago. No, you can see that when you explore Ayurveda, it is rich with ideas, frameworks, new insights, new directions, which can actually enable us to create new pathways in medical research. And that is the sad thing when we talk about Ayurveda in the context of IKS. We are not thinking of preserving Ayurveda like a museum, like a relic. We have to bring more creativity. The way India can lead the world in medical research, in new medical discoveries, is to go back to the roots of Ayurveda and discover these frameworks and interesting ideas and unique, directions that Ayurvedic literature is capable of giving us. So Ayurveda, that's why Ayurveda says that what is there in the text is not the complete knowledge. In fact, Chakrabarti says Sabdarupa Ayurveda, Upadesha of Ayurveda, that is time bound. It gets outdated. We have to create new knowledge. So Ayurveda has protocols for named diseases and logical tools for studying unnamed or new diseases. That is the open system of Ayurveda, where new diseases should be studied. So we are getting so many new diseases today. We need to study them, name them, and find out methodologies to treat them, the pathophysiology, functional disturbances. And this allows adaptability across time and geography. So then what is rich in Ayurveda is a vast and integrated pharmacopoeia. Sushruta Samhita says you have to search for medicinal plants everywhere in the world. Nadishu, Shaileshu, Sarassu Chapi, Vanyeshu, Aranyeshu, Tathashrameshu, Sarvatra Sarva Parimargidavya, Sarvatra Bhumi Rahi Vasuni Dhate. This Bhumi, so Ayurveda always had the globe as the platform. Sushruta does not say that you search for medicinal plants only in India. Sarvatra Bhumi Rahi Vasuni Dhate. The whole earth is rich with resources for making medicines. So search, Sarasu, search in the lakes. Shaileshu, search in the mountains. Vanyeshu, Aranyeshu, Ashrameshu. Sarvatra Sarvaha Parimargidavya. This is the first clarion call for what we today call as bioprospecting. Search for medicines everywhere on the earth. And Charaka says, Swabudhevam Sahasrani Kotirvapi Vigalpayed Bahudravya Vigalpatvad Yoga Sankhyana Vidyade. You can make koti formulations, crores of formulations. Ayurveda is not talking about 10, 20, 30, 40 or 100 or even 1000 formulations. It says that the physician who knows about these principles and who knows the herbs and materials around him can make crores of formulations. So Ayurveda has herbal drugs, mineral drugs, animal substances. Ayurveda is not, vegetarian. Ayurveda is flexi vegetarian. It prefers vegetarian, but it has no inhibition in using anything under the earth, for health and other purposes. So what Ayurveda tells is kama himsa and dharma himsa. This is discussed in the Ayurvedic text. Should we eat meat? So Ayurveda says, ask the question, are you eating meat for your pleasure or is it for your nutritional need? If it is for nutritional or therapeutic need, then it is dharma himsa. If it is for simply, like today, we are eating meat for the pleasure of it, that is called kama himsa. So we can see Ayurveda is informed ethically, morally. All these guidelines and regulations are inbuilt into these classical textbooks. There is an emphasis on how these drugs should be processed, safety, synergy, and this is one of the world's richest materia medica traditions. And to just put things in perspective, India has more than 8,000 medicinal plants, and we are hardly using 400 to 500, and we are over-exploiting them. So this is some area where we need to do new research based on Ayurvedic principles, explore the richness and variety of Ayurvedic, medicinal plants. So then we have dietetics as a core therapy. Diet in Ayurveda, we have this statement that shakyate pyannamatrena narakartum niramayam, which means that with just food it is possible to treat a patient. We don't need anything else. We can treat and heal diseases just with food. There are other sayings in the classical Ayurvedic tradition. Pathye sati gadartasya kim aushadha nishevanai. Pathye asati gadartasya kim aushadha nishevanai. When you are, following a proper diet and regimen, then what is the use of medicine? If you do not follow diet and regulated lifestyle, then what is the use of medicine? So this is one of the earliest narratives of what we can call today as lifestyle medicine. So Ayurveda is one of the earliest versions of systems medicine. It is one of the earliest preventive medicine. It is one of the first attempts at creating what is called as lifestyle medicine. Ayurveda is also one of the earliest attempts at integrative medicine, because the Charaka Samhita talks about what is called pluralism of medical traditions. Vividhani hi shastrani vishajam pracharanti loke. So Charaka has talked about diversity of medical systems. We can see in Charaka Samhita, Vividhani hi shastrani vishajam pracharanti loke means there are so many shastras or medical systems of the physicians in the world. And he even puts a criteria on how to choose what is best, how to integrate all this knowledge. So we can say that Ayurveda also has an integrative approach. So food is not only a preventive tool, it is a therapeutic agent. And in Ayurveda, we have a very sophisticated yet simple, what you can say, intuitive framework for balancing diet, which considers the prakriti, season, digestive capacity, disease stage, and anticipates modern medical nutrition therapy. So we are recently, engaged in a trial where we are focusing on detection of pre-diabetes, identifying, patients at the pre-diabetes stage itself, because, today India is becoming the diabetes capital of the world. Kerala is the diabetes capital of India. And we found that in our surveys, when we are screening patients, 50% of them are already pre-diabetic, and many of them are also diabetic. And in pre-diabetes we can easily reverse. There is a direct trial that was conducted in the UK, which showed that by weight-led, by nutritional therapy, along with which focuses on weight loss and a regulated lifestyle, it's possible actually to cure diabetes. You can bring that, I won't say cure, you can induce remission in diabetes. In my own experience, pre-diabetes can be reversed in about 3 to 6 months. And diabetes in many people, if they follow this kind of protocols, diabetes can be reversed. There are people, good examples, the direct trial itself demonstrates a lot of people have been able to stop modern medications and be in remission, but they'll have to continue their diet and lifestyle. So this reminds me of a very interesting verse, which is a subhashidam, medical subhashidam. Parishramo mitaharo bhugada vashvini sudau ta vanadritya nevaham vaidyamanyam samashraye. So parishrama, that is physical activity, and mitahara or moderate diet, these are like the Ashwini twins. And I will not consult a physician by ignoring them, which means they were considered as the best measures for preventing as well as managing, especially lifestyle diseases. I'm just spending a little bit more time on this topic because today the global disease burden is attributed to non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases. 70% is because of lifestyle and NCDs. So if we can bring lifestyle medicine, both preventive and curative, then it means we can address 70% of the global economic burden, of healthcare. So, and that is where Ayurveda has a lot to offer. And then, Ayurveda has very rich regional traditions and living knowledge. Ayurveda is all about global localization, not globalization, because we believed in diversity and we wanted to preserve that diversity. There is a classical verse in Ayurvedic text which says, Deshe Deshe Yojana Dwadashante Bhinnanyahur Darvyanamani Loge Krimchamishu Praninam Varna Cheshta Bhasha Cheshta Chaya Bhinna Rupa Vibhadi. That is in a diameter of about 180 kilometers approximately. I think I'm not sure about how much 12 yojanas is, but it's not a very big distance. In such a diameter, there is diversity in our country. Ecological diversity, language diversity, dialectical diversity, climate diversity. And this has led to development of regional diets, indigenous practices, especially Kerala, Himalayan, desert, coastal traditions have their own approaches. This is something which we are losing due to modernization. And this is at the basis, it's a root cause of so many health problems that are emerging today. We need to rediscover our regional traditions. We need to go back to regional methods of, management of health. So in Kerala, we had seasonal regimens. We would anticipate illnesses that would come in different seasons and prepare the body for that. And all that is getting lost. We are now having a standardized diet everywhere across the world, America, Europe, India. We can see that even outside India, globally, people who have preserved their dietary traditions are more healthy. The Mediterranean diet has been found to be really healthy because in those days, diet was developed for survival, for health. Today, it is a food industry. We create food habits because people want to sell food. It's not for health. It's not for our, nutrition or supporting our health. So, India is a country which can actually lead the integrative health movement. Integrative medicine is a term that has come outside India, but there it is very restricted. Everything is being policed, controlled by modern medicine. India's healthcare system is unique because here we allow epistemic freedom. All medical systems coexist independently. What we have failed is in integrating them. So if India integrates a pluralistic healthcare model, then India can become the leader in integrative medicine and Ayurveda can lead the way. because it has this all-encompassing framework that covers preventive health, ethical medicine, rational therapeutics, surgical excellence, ecological awareness, personalized care. So Ayurveda can be rediscovered as a holistic, adaptive, medical civilization itself. It's the expression of a whole medical civilization. Recently, I've been working on a project where we are projecting India as a health civilization, health conscious civilization, what we would call as Arogya Samskriti. So to conclude, Ayurveda is India's gift to the world of medicine. Ayurveda has a profound historical foundation, so ancient that we can't even trace it. We cannot see through the mists of time. Ayurveda is also a living knowledge system, and it has great relevance for chronic disease, lifestyle disorders, environmental health crisis. And so we need to engage with Ayurveda as a knowledge partner, not as an alternative system. And this can happen if we build Ayurveda on the foundation of Indian knowledge systems. We can reimagine the whole landscape of India's healthcare system by rediscovering Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is inclusive. It is not against any system. It accommodates modern medicine. So I conclude with a statement from Advaita Vedanta, the Gaudapada Kariga, in which he says that there is a difference in the attitude of dualists and the Advaitins. Swasiddhanta vyavasthasu dvaidino drida nischida parasparam viruddhyante tairayamna viruddhyate. The Dvaitis are always contradicting each other because they cannot accommodate the other viewpoint. Whereas tairayamna viruddhyate, the viewpoint of Advaita, is all embracing. It accommodates everything and transcends these differences. And that is the kind of meta framework of knowledge that India has to offer to the world. Not only in the world of medicine, but in all endeavors of human activity. And that is the vision of Bharata. Bha, which is light or prakasha, and Rata, to be engaged in so intimately to the point of losing ourselves in the pursuit of knowledge. And Bharata Varsha is a place which rains such people. It is a reign of people seeking this higher knowledge. And I hope that through IKS, through our great traditions, we can rediscover the spirit of Bharata and lead the world in remaking, what is a unified, world of one family. So with that, I conclude, and thank you very much for this opportunity. And I guess I have completed in time, so we have some time for interaction.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Rammanohar. What an exceptionally brilliant presentation of yours, and truly enlightening. It was a mesmerizing talk, and we could have never thought, the gravity of, we all have been wanting to understand, know about Ayurveda, but not many of us have really been knowing, the real contribution of India, and also very lucid presentation of yours. We really look forward to have much more time, because we could see that each and everything, whatever, was discussed over here today, that was with not much of conviction. You had been a truly expert, unparalleled expert in the field. And we really look forward to have more interactions with you. I would just like to apprise you, Dr. Rammanohar, that DELNET is developing a very massive course on IKS, Indian Knowledge Systems. And Ayurveda, we are wanting, the reason why we have initiated this special webinar series is also to get help by our experts, eminent experts like your intellectual self, who can constructively contribute in helping us out to unearth, many of these facts which remains hidden, from the masses as yet. And we have truly felt so happy and blessed in having you today, and for your such a one of the most finest deliberations, that we have been able to get on this. And I believe more than 300 participants that we have on this platform right now would have immensely got benefited. And we really look forward. So today we have made a beginning in having more, engaging discussions. And through this major upcoming portal, we would continue to seek, your guidance to see to it that we bring and translate that knowledge into knowledge systems. As you have rightly said, that this is a complete medical knowledge system. It's not just simply having a medicine-based or a cure system, but it encompasses, the entire medical knowledge system. But we really have to bring it to the masses, and your efforts, unparalleled, profound efforts that you're making and your contributions. We are indeed feeling so very blessed that we are able to have you today, and for your stupendous, support, and also at the same time, this knowledge enhancing to the core, the knowledge enhancing deliberations, this entire session has witnessed. We remain truly, truly grateful to you, Dr. Rammanohar ji. And now, with your permission, we would like to make the floor open for questions. We have our delegates from across India and also from many other countries. I would like to request our attendees over here. We are going to have a deliberations for about 15 minutes time, and requesting you, this is a request to all our participants. Those of you who may like to ask a question to our distinguished speaker, please kindly raise your digital hand, and we would really be happy to get you connected with Dr. Rammanohar ji. This is a request. If you are wanting to ask any questions, please kindly raise your digital hand, and we would be happy to get you connected. We can see this is, please kindly allow us a time as we are able to, just allow us a time to get connected. We can notice that a few of our colleagues over here are wanting to ask a question. So this is for Ramakrishna Sharma Sitaraman. Mr. Ramakrishna Sitaraman, you have raised your hand. Would be requesting you to kindly unmute yourself. We have unmuted you from here. Mr. Ramakrishna Sitaraman, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? Mr. Sitaraman, could you please unmute yourself? I would like to request our delegates, if you are wanting to ask a question, then only please raise your digital hand. Would be requesting Mr. Durgesh Jaina. Mr. Durgesh Jaina, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? Mr. Durgesh Jaina, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? You have raised your digital hand. Kindly bear with us, Dr. Rammanohar ji. This is what happens in the virtual environment, because we can see the digital hands, but we are not so sure whether they are genuinely wanting to ask a question or not. This is for you, Mr. Jaina. If you want to ask a question, please raise your digital hand. It seems that we may like to then unmute you, and otherwise would be requesting, if you want to ask the questions, you can send us on the chat.
Yeah, I think the chat may be easy.
Exactly. This is a question. Yeah, this is a question from Philip Joshi, and this is for you, Dr. Rammanohar ji, and this is a chat message requesting you to apprise them about the other shastras. It says that you should request to learn other shastras also to have knowledge of subjects completely. What may be the other shastras as per your view? And you may like to enlighten them about it.
Yeah. So see, Ayurveda was linked with anything that was concerned with life. So we have in Ayurveda discussion even on economics. After finishing the course, Ayurveda physicians are even asked to become entrepreneurs to make money. Uttishteda tatotyartham artheshu arthanuvaldhishu nindidam dirgham apyayur asannihita sadhanam. I'm just giving one example. He says after you finish your course, start doing things which will bring you some revenue, because even if you live a long life, if you do not have any resources, it will be miserable. And on the other hand, he says Ayurveda is not just for making money, but it is for, helping the sick. So ethics comes there. Then we have in Ayurveda sociology, there is a whole discussion on Sadvrita, how to behave in society, what are the impacts. So anything that affects health, Ayurveda is concerned. So Sushruta tells that if you just become a medical doctor with only medical knowledge, you won't be able to implement it, in society for actual human good. So occupations, Ayurveda talks about how occupations affect health. So you have to study about all these things to become a good physician. So the interesting thing is, but Charaka says, so we have to read Charaka and Sushruta together. Charaka tells that first you must study one Shastra deeply. Ekasmin api yasyega shastre labdhaspadamadi sa anyadavi sadshastram yuktitnyatvat prapadyate. So there is no compromise there. First you study Ayurveda very deeply. And then he says that if you study one discipline thoroughly, then studying other disciplines will not be difficult, because you understand how to learn anything. So Sushruta is talking about the next stage. Ayurveda talks about lifelong learning. Today in modern educational theories, we have pedagogy, andragogy, hoitagogy, which is lifelong learning. So Ayurveda was one of the systems which talked about lifelong learning. So it is during that lifelong learning that Sushruta tells you must engage with other disciplines. Many people mistake thinking that at undergraduate level, postgraduate level, you have to push all the subjects on the student. I mean, that will be disastrous. So Sushruta's advice to learn other disciplines is more associated with lifelong learning. Charaka also says, Nachaiva hyasti ayurvedasya param tasmat shashvad abhiyogam asmin gache. Don't stop learning after you finish your course. You have to continuously learn. And as you do adult and lifelong learning, you must link with all other disciplines. Today we know AI. Today we can extend it to modern disciplines also. But I believe that in Ayurveda, we must first learn our other Shastras like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, which are the foundations of Ayurvedic therapy. Some other things which they insisted on those days was also Jyotisha, which was linked with Ayurveda. So they did have some special topics in mind, but I believe that it is interdisciplinary learning that Sushruta is talking about, and anything that can make you deliver your medical applications more efficiently, effectively, we must make it as an objective of lifelong learning.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rammanohar. One quick question to you, because you have got such a global exposure and you're a person of a very global standing. What are the major challenges that you are able to notice it, in taking the benefits of Ayurveda to the general masses? And how far are we able to, when we talk about our Indian knowledge systems, how far are we able to use the technology, the current technology, let's say, for example, the conversational technologies that we have, to bring that knowledge as an, practically, to help, the general masses? Because you are being involved with a large number of these international global projects. What is the future? We have a past which is being there. We are trying to preserve that past, but how really? So one is the knowledge preservation that we are doing it, but how far are we able to, do the knowledge sharing of that and practically help humanity? What are the kind of, what is your view on this, and what are the kind of global efforts being made to use technology to translate this knowledge, the knowledge systems, to put them into action and for the welfare of the humanity? How are we going to address that?
Yeah, actually speaking, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. See, if you look at the entire Indian medical manuscript, which I said is one of the most, richest collection in the whole world, I tried to show how throughout the country we have contributed. And there was an estimate made by some manuscriptologists that less than 10% of this has actually been, digitized or even studied. So we have today tremendous potential of technologies. Then what is not to speak of the oral traditions? We are losing knowledge. I mean, it is just this knowledge is getting eroded, disappearing in the front of our eyes. I witnessed in my young time, I was going around with a camera, interviewing traditional healers, fascinating information that they have. I mean, we have to filter it, of course. Not everything is, valid, but we need to collect that. So what is happening today is that a lot of precious knowledge is just vanishing in front of our eyes, and we are not using our technology to capture and preserve it. Many of the manuscripts are just languishing in the manuscript libraries. Nobody is even reading it. We are losing the skills of transcribing the text. Scribes are no longer there, but new technologies have come using AI, large language model, machine learning. So many possibilities are there. We have not used them. Another thing is Ayurveda today with wearables. I'm just giving one or two examples. We can go on and on. Another area is wearables, because Ayurveda talks about variability and dynamic monitoring of the body. In modern medicine, we take a snapshot of the body at a particular point of time, look at average values, and then diagnose a disease. But Ayurveda needs constant inputs. How is your body adapting? How is it today? How is it the next moment? And today, this perhaps they were also finding it challenging to study it that way. Today, we have wearables and technologies which can give you information about a person's what is happening inside. Of course, with all privacy, protection and encryption, if such data could be transmitted to physicians through wearable devices in a careful way, Ayurvedic treatments would become so much more powerful. Sitting here in Kerala, I can know what's happening to my patient, in any part of the globe. And even without the patient knowing, I can see what is happening when they are sleeping, or I can give them an advice. And Ayurvedic principles can be applied in a more effective manner when it becomes data driven using these technologies. So these are just two examples. There's so many ways. Drug development, making Ayurvedic medicines more palatable, more effective in delivery. So many things, there are possibilities of bringing technologies. But we are kind of frozen. We have fossilized Ayurveda. And we think classical pure Ayurveda is something which was, practiced 200 years ago. That is not in tune with Ayurveda's philosophy, which says, according to Desha, Yuganurupa Sandarbha. That is what the Shastras say. It has to continuously change, evolve, adapt. So I think there is so much of possibility.
So let's keep on exploring the infinite possibilities and to work for it. And you being there, and I believe there is a need for a country like India also to develop some. Not only a national, but yes, a global platform on Ayurveda, wherein there are more avenues for knowledge sharing among the experts and also the masses. They get benefited, with that common platform. So maybe perhaps the government may be thinking about bringing everyone together and having one common platform for everyone to reap the benefits. And maybe perhaps this may be already some work may be underway for developing such a major knowledge sharing platform on Ayurveda. So we at DELNET are trying our best, Dr. Rammanohar, through this particular portal that we are developing, and we would be seeking, definitely we would like to seek your expert advice on that how we can create a special module on Ayurveda. And as we could see that not much of interest. When we started off this webinar series, when we asked our professionals what are the particular areas, of IKS and subjects in which they are interested in, you won't believe, more than 85% of them, they went for Ayurveda. They said that, want to just, learn more about, they really want to see.
Yeah, I think we should give more information, because there are two ways people come to Ayurveda. One by emotion, by connection to tradition. The other is with proper information. And eventually, we should help the people take informed decisions, knowing what is the benefits and limits of Ayurveda. Both are important. So that is where I think DELNET and such platforms can play a big role, bringing the genuine, authentic information of Ayurveda, making it accessible so that people can take informed decisions and not get misled. I mean, that I think is very critical today.
Thank you very much. We look forward to your coming to Delhi. You know, next time when you're coming to Delhi, as you said, you almost every month you come as you serve on all the prestigious committees here of Government of India. Do give us a chance. We would like to have an in-person program of yours rather than a virtual one. And more time, you know, do keep at least, you know, few hours more for us, you know, when you are here in Delhi. Such a pleasure, Dr. Rammanohar. And I could see that we have a couple of our professionals who have raised hands because of paucity of time. Perhaps maximum 5 minutes more, Dr. Rammanohar, with your permission, can we have 5 minutes more? Because
yeah, 5 minutes fine. After that, I do have to leave, so 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yes, I couldn't. Well, you know, we have much appreciated your spending so much of time for us. We'll just have a 5 minutes time more, and I would just like to quickly request Mr. Vikash Rakesh Salve. Mr. Vikash Rakesh Salve, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Mr. Rakesh Salve.
Hello.
I believe there are.
Because
I'm happy to hear. Yes.
Am I audible? This is actually Dr. Abhinav. I would like good afternoon all, and I would like to ask sir that considering the changed dynamics in today's era, is this the right time to write new Samhita in Ayurveda?
Yes, yes, of course, because see, there is a lot of discussion in the classical Ayurvedic text itself why new Samhitas have to be created from time to time. So Vagbhada, for example, says one is when there is an information scatter. There's a lot of texts, you know, piling up, information explosion. So tebhyo ati vipragirnebhya praya saradar uchchadaya kriyate ashtanga hridayam nati sankshepa vistaram. So he says, I'm creating a new Samhita because a lot of information explosion has happened. People are not able to understand, you know, what should be taken from that for practical purposes. Another thing where they say is when things get outdated. You know, Vistaredi Leshoktam, Samshipatyadi Vistaram, Samskarta Kuride Tantram, Puranam cha Punarnavam, which means that old Tantra has been made new again by elaborating areas that got outdated where more explanations are needed, new things added. So the word Purana itself in our tradition means Pura api Navam, that which is new even though it is old. So we had a beautiful framework for blending the old and the new together without losing what is essential in the old. Whereas today we have a system where the new rejects the old. You know, or the other extreme where the old is always suspicious of the new. So Kalidasa tells very clearly here, Puranamityeva nasadu sarvam, nachabi kavyam navamityavadyam, santa pariksha anyatarad bhajande, mudha parapratyane buddhi. So something is not wrong because it is new. Something is not good just because it is old. The wise people examine what is good and what is bad and then accept. The fools are led by opinions. So we had a system where the old and new was continuously examined and what was essential was taken forward. And so that requires updation of our Samhitas. But the whole question is who will do it. We need a polymath. We need a great scholar physician who can write a Samhita. And my belief is we cannot do it alone. Today we will Sankhe Shakti Kalau Yuge. In the Kali Yuga, strength comes from teamwork. It's not possible for one person to do it. So we should collaborate and create a new updated Samhita that will present Ayurveda in a contemporaneous way. That is my view.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you so much. Yes, I believe, Dr. Rammanohar, because I can see that, and this is for our attendees who are being there online, because of paucity of time, we are not able to take the questions forward, but we just would like to really request you, do kindly send us across an email with your questions. We'll be more than happy to get you connected with Dr. Rammanohar.
Yeah, it's a collection of questions. I can, you know, take a little time. Yes. And answer all of them. So
yeah, and we would be more than happy to send it across to everyone. And this is to seek your permission, Rammanohar, because we would like to make the entire video recording of the session to be made available on our YouTube channel. So we would like to have your consent that can we do so, so that many others also.
So the idea is dissemination. The whole idea is dissemination, discussion.
Exactly.
And,
yes.
that part is most important. And on an online platform, we do have limitations. So if the questions are sent across, I will be very happy to kind of respond.
Thank you so very much indeed. And we would like to present this momentum with a great sense of gratitude to you, Dr. Rammanohar ji. And it has been such an honor. Thank you so very much for being there with us, for sharing your vast expertise on this platform. We really look forward to having many more opportunities to interact with you and to get benefited and also to work together. DELNET will be very, very happy to collaborate also with Amrita School of Ayurveda to initiate some new projects in this direction. And it has been such a great honor and pleasure. This is for you, and we'll make it sure that it arrives, very, very safely. So we remain truly, truly so very grateful to you for your time and efforts in being there. A big thank you from each one of us, and we really look forward to having many more opportunities. God bless. Thank you so very much indeed, Dr. Rammanohar ji. Thank you. Thank you very much. With this, we close the session. We are indeed much grateful to our very distinguished speaker of the session, who was able to sensitize us so well, on India's contribution to Ayurveda. We really look forward to carrying these discussions forward. We are appreciative of the participation of each one of you who have been there on this platform. Also would like to thank, my own colleague, Mr. Kushal Goswami, and also Mrs. Ranjana for coordinating the DELNET webinar sessions. Quickly to mention, the entire deliberations of today's session will be made available by Monday morning at the DELNET YouTube channel WebView. Also would like to mention, in another 1 hour's time, you'll be receiving the certificate of participation with great appreciation of your being there today with us. We have truly valued your presence over here. Once again, a big thank you to you, Dr. Rammanohar ji, and we really look forward to meeting you in person at Delhi, and it would be an immense pleasure for us. Thank you so very much indeed. God bless. Thank you. Thank you very much, one and all. Thank you. Thank you. With this, we close the session. Stay happy and stay blessed, and do stay connected. We look forward to having you back again in the future webinars of DELNET. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless. Thank you.